That's just one of the hits that made Lionel Richie a true legend in the music world. This morning, he's looking back at a life in song with Kela Fasane.
Are they going to let me in? Are you kidding?
For decades, Lionel Richie has been one of the most recognizable voices in the world. His songs have crossed generations, his melodies have become timeless, and his name has remained connected with some of the greatest moments in music history. From romantic ballads that touched millions of hearts to unforgettable performances that made entire stadiums sing along, Richie built a career that few artists could ever dream of. But recently, fans around the world found themselves worried after a shocking moment during one of his concerts. The legendary singer, now in his late 70s, suddenly stopped performing and walked away from the stage, leaving the audience wondering what had really happened. Was it just a temporary setback? Or was it a sign that the demands of performing at this level had finally become too much? The story behind Lionel Richie's latest health scare reveals not only the challenges he faces today, but also the incredible journey that brought him to this point. On the opening night of his Sing a Song All Night Long tour, Lionel Richie was performing in front of a packed crowd when things suddenly took an unexpected turn. The concert was supposed to be a celebration, the beginning of a major North American tour alongside Earth, Wind and Fire. Just hours earlier, Richie had appeared excited about the show, sharing moments from rehearsals and soundchecks with fans. Everything suggested that he was ready to give audiences another unforgettable night. But after performing for nearly an hour, something changed. During his performance of the classic hit, Dancing on the Ceiling, Richie sat down on a platform and told the crowd that he was feeling dizzy. Even in that uncomfortable moment, he tried to keep the atmosphere light. Known for his charm and humor, he joked with the audience and tried to make people laugh instead of making them panic. He even pointed out the unusual situation of performing the song while sitting down, joking that it was the first time in the history of the song that he had done it that way. But behind the smile, fans could see that something was not right. After that, Richie moved to the piano and continued the show while remaining seated. He performed Three Times a Lady, one of his most emotional songs, and the moment became even more powerful because fans realized he was pushing himself despite not feeling well. However, when the song ended, Richie made the difficult decision to stop. He announced an unexpected intermission, joking that he needed to step away so he would not fall over. What seemed like a short break soon became something much more serious. The band continued performing while the audience waited, hoping Richie would return to the stage. Minutes passed, but there was still no sign of the singer. Eventually, the musicians also left, and the crowd was left waiting for answers. Around 40 minutes after the interruption began, the band's saxophone player came forward and explained that Richie was not feeling well and would not be able to continue the concert. Soon afterward, Richie's team released a statement confirming that the singer was unable to finish the performance because he was not feeling well. Reports later claimed that paramedics treated him backstage and that he was taken to a nearby hospital as a precaution. However, many details remained unknown. No official medical diagnosis was immediately released, and neither Richie nor his management revealed exactly what caused the sudden problem. As rumors began spreading online, many fans became concerned. But it was important to separate facts from speculation. There was no confirmation that Richie was facing a life-threatening condition, and claims about his exact medical situation went beyond what had actually been reported. The truth was much simpler. A legendary performer had experienced a health issue during a demanding concert and needed medical attention as a precaution. So what might have caused Lionel Richie's sudden exit from the stage? One explanation came from John Paris, the drummer for Earth, Wind and Fire, who suggested that Richie appeared to be dealing with dehydration. According to him, Richie had not shown signs of being sick before the performance and seemed fine before going on stage. However, this was only an observation from someone close to the event, not an official medical diagnosis. The conditions of the performance may have also played a role. Richie had spent almost an hour singing and moving under intense stage lights while wearing heavy leather clothing. For someone in their late 70s, performing with that much energy can place enormous stress on the body. Even the strongest performers can be affected by heat, exhaustion, and dehydration, especially during a long concert tour that requires traveling from city to city. The incident also reminded fans of another important reality. Many legendary artists continue performing well into their 70s and 80s because their passion for music never disappears. They still want to connect with audiences and share the songs that made them famous. But age naturally changes what the human body can handle. The same performances that once felt effortless can become much more physically demanding over time. Just days before Richie's concert incident, another music legend, Rod Stewart, experienced a health scare during a performance and had to pause his show after feeling faint. These moments highlight the challenges faced by artists who continue to perform at the highest level long after most people would have stepped away from the spotlight. For Lionel Richie, this was not simply another concert interruption. This was a reminder of everything his body has endured throughout an extraordinary career. The man standing on that stage was not just a singer. He was the artist behind some of the most beloved songs in music history. He became famous with the Commodores, transformed himself into a global solo superstar, recorded unforgettable hits like Hello and All Night Long, co-wrote We Are the World with Michael Jackson, and later became a familiar face as a judge on American Idol. But long before this recent scare, Richie had already faced serious challenges involving the very thing that made him famous: his voice. For several years, he struggled with painful throat problems that threatened his ability to sing. Doctors attempted to solve the issue through multiple surgeries, but the problem continued to return. After undergoing 4 different throat operations over a period of years, Richie began to fear that he might never be able to perform the way he once did. For a singer, losing his voice is not just a medical problem. It is a threat to an entire identity. Richie had spent his life creating music, connecting with fans, and building a career around his unique sound. The possibility that his voice could disappear was one of the most frightening moments of his life. Despite medical treatments, the problem did not fully disappear. Searching for another answer, Richie eventually visited a holistic doctor who offered a different explanation. Instead of believing the main issue was his throat itself, the doctor suggested that acid reflux may have been damaging his vocal cords. The condition can cause irritation and discomfort when stomach acid reaches the throat, creating problems for singers. According to Richie, changing his lifestyle and eating habits helped him understand the connection between his health and his voice. The experience taught him that sometimes the answer to a serious problem may come from unexpected places. After years of fear, he finally found a way to protect the voice that had defined his entire career. But before becoming a global superstar, Lionel Richie's story began in a very different place. His journey from a small Alabama community to worldwide fame was filled with unexpected choices, hard work, and moments that changed music forever. Lionel Brockman Richie Jr. was born on June 20, 1949, in Tuskegee, Alabama, into a family that valued education, discipline, and creativity. His father worked as a systems analyst for the U.S. Army, while his mother was a teacher who later became a school principal. Music was also part of his family's life, especially through his grandmother, who was a talented pianist and introduced him to the beauty of classical music. Growing up in Tuskegee placed Richie in an environment surrounded by history and culture. His childhood home was located on the campus of Tuskegee Institute, where his family lived in a house connected to the legacy of educator Booker T. Washington. Although music would eventually become his destiny, Richie did not begin his life expecting to become a superstar. In fact, he originally considered a very different future. During his younger years, Richie was an excellent tennis player and earned a scholarship to attend Tuskegee Institute. While studying there, he became involved with music groups and discovered a passion that would eventually change his entire life. He performed with the school's marching band and became increasingly interested in creating music, even though he had never learned to read or write musical notes. At one point, Richie even considered becoming a priest in the Episcopal Church. But as his connection with music grew stronger, he realized that his true calling was somewhere else. The decision to follow music would lead him toward a career that would make him one of the most successful artists of his generation. In the late 1960s, Richie began forming and joining rhythm and blues groups while studying at Tuskegee. In 1968, he became a member of the Commodores, where he worked as a singer and saxophone player. The group signed a recording deal and eventually became one of Motown's most successful acts. At the beginning, the Commodores were known for their energetic funk sound. They performed as an opening act for the Jackson 5 and quickly gained attention for their exciting performances. Songs like Machine Gun and Brick House helped establish them as one of the most popular soul groups of the era. However, Richie's greatest strength was his ability to create emotional ballads. As the years passed, he began writing and singing slower, more romantic songs that showed a different side of his talent. Songs such as Easy, 3 Times a Lady, Still, and Sail On became huge successes and proved that Richie had a rare ability to connect with listeners through emotion. His songwriting skills soon attracted attention beyond the Commodores. In the late 1970s, other artists began turning to Richie for songs, and one of his biggest achievements came when he wrote Lady for Kenny Rogers. The song became a #1 hit and helped establish Richie as one of the most respected songwriters in the music industry. In 1981, Richie reached another major milestone when he teamed up with Diana Ross for the song Endless Love. The duet became a worldwide sensation and one of Motown's biggest-selling songs. Its success showed that Richie was not just a talented group member but a force capable of creating global hits on his own. The following year, Richie officially began his solo career with his self-titled album. The record became a massive success, featuring hits like Truly, You Are, and My Love, but his next album would take him to an entirely different level. Released in 1983, Can't Slow Down became one of the most successful albums of the decade. It produced some of Richie's most famous songs, including All Night Long, a joyful anthem that became recognized around the world. The song's colorful music video and infectious energy helped make Richie one of the biggest entertainers on the planet. In 1984, Richie performed All Night Long at the closing ceremony of the Summer Olympics in Los Angeles, an event watched by millions of people worldwide. Soon afterward, another legendary song arrived. Hello became one of his signature hits, with its emotional lyrics and unforgettable melody, making it one of the most recognizable songs in popular music. Richie continued his incredible run with songs like Stuck on You, Running with the Night, and Penny Lover. In 1985, he wrote and performed Say You, Say Me for the movie White Nights. The song became a #1 hit and won the Academy Award for Best Original Song. That same era brought another historic achievement when Richie joined forces with Michael Jackson to write We Are the World. The charity single brought together some of the biggest names in music to raise money for famine relief in Africa. It became a worldwide phenomenon and remains one of the most important songs ever recorded. After releasing Dancing on the Ceiling in 1986, Richie continued creating music, although his career began moving at a slower pace. He released albums, performed around the world, and remained connected with his loyal fans. Unlike many artists who tried to chase every new trend, Richie stayed true to the smooth, soulful style that made him famous. As the years passed, Richie proved that his influence extended far beyond music. He returned to the spotlight with successful performances, new albums, and major appearances. His 2006 album Coming Home became a major comeback moment, and in 2012, his album Tuskegee featured new versions of his greatest hits recorded with country music stars. The album became a huge success and reminded the world that Richie's music still had the power to bring people together. In 2015, Richie delivered another unforgettable performance at the Glastonbury Festival in England, where he performed in front of a massive crowd. The response was so powerful that his greatest hits collection returned to the top of the UK albums chart afterward. A few years later, Richie became a familiar face to a new generation when he joined the judging panel of American Idol. His role introduced him to younger audiences while allowing longtime fans to see another side of his personality. He became known not only as a legendary singer, but also as a mentor who encouraged new performers. Richie continued receiving honors throughout his career. He was recognized by institutions around the world, received major awards, and was celebrated for his contributions to music. His achievements included multiple Grammy Awards, an Academy Award, and recognition as one of the greatest songwriters and performers of his era. Outside of music, Richie's personal life also attracted attention. He married his college sweetheart, Brenda Harvey, in 1975, and together they raised Nicole Richie, whom they later officially adopted. Years later, Richie married Diane Alexander, and they had 2 children, Miles and Sophia Richie, who both became known in the entertainment and fashion worlds. Despite the ups and downs of fame, family changes, and personal challenges, Richie continued supporting charitable causes. He helped raise millions for breast cancer research and often spoke about how his grandmother's survival and strength inspired him. Today, Lionel Richie remains a symbol of timeless music and perseverance. His recent concert scare reminded fans that even legends are human and that performing at the highest level requires incredible physical strength. But it also showed something else. After more than 5 decades in the spotlight, Richie's passion for music has never disappeared. Whether he is standing on a concert stage, judging new talent, or simply sharing memories from his extraordinary career, Lionel Richie continues to prove why his songs have survived generations. His journey has included moments of fear, uncertainty, and personal struggles, but it has also been filled with achievements that few artists will ever match. The question now is not whether Lionel Richie has given enough to music. His legacy is already secure. The real question is how much longer this legendary performer will continue sharing his voice with the world. And for millions of fans, every performance is a reminder that some artists are not just entertainers. They become part of people's lives forever.